The Monument Town Council, Monday, November 18th, 2024. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Erickson, will you take roll, please?
Councilmember Chronic,
Here.
Councilmember Romanello.
Here.
So sorry. Mayor Pro Tem King,
Here.
Councilmember Abbott, Councilmember Fiorito,
Here.
okay.
Here.
Councilmember Kimball.
Here.
All right. For those in attendance, we've got some new technology going here. So if you hear some echoes or reverbs or lights start flashing, disco ball drops from the ceiling, just bear with us as we get through some of the tweaking that may need to get done. We did get a disco ball.
Where is it?
It'll drop down when it's appropriate.
Okay.
Is Rebecca online?
I am, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any disclosures of conflicts of interest tonight?
Mr. Mayor, there have been no disclosures for conflicts for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Will, can we do something about the incoming audio? We can't hear it. It's muffled.
Too much bass.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that during.
Okay,
But I'll like,
okay. Okay, before us, we have an agenda and a consent agenda. Any modifications to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to modify the agenda to add a public session after the executive session, that if we get information from our attorneys about the loop, that we can make a decision on that if it's appropriate.
Okay, so so we're just going to come back into the public and you want to have a discussion.
Yes.
About water options.
Yes.
Okay, so
If we learn information from the executive session that causes us to want to bring something up for the public, I would like to have that as an opportunity. Am I
okay,
making sense or not?
yes.
yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
So you're talking like 12 alpha? Public,
We would replace. It would be
13.
13,
okay. Makes
adjournment
pub-
would go to 14.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Okay.
we would say 13 would be a discussion on water, this topic. Okay, there's been a motion to modify the agenda.
Second,
We have a motion and a second.
Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Councilmember Kimball,
yes.
Mayor LaKind,
Yes.
Councilmember Fiorito,
Yes.
Councilmember Abbott, Councilmember Chronic,
Yes.
Councilmember Romanello.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes 7-0. Move on to proclamations. Colorado Crash Responder Safety Week. I have a copy in my packet,
Hand it over.
and I'm handing it down to our authorized
The council
reader.
reader,
Council reader.
Fuck Lamore.
the town crier.
Want to do it? No, okay.
At all.
You want to go ahead and start? Go ahead. All right. Colorado Crash Responder Safety Week proclamation. Whereas law enforcement officers, firefighters, public service utility, emergency medical personnel, road crews, and tow operators conduct valuable and often life-saving operations at the roadside And whereas these on-scene personnel provide a critical public service, and whereas they are called to duty at all hours of the day and night in adverse weather conditions and in a dangerous roadside environment, and whereas Colorado responders use traffic incident management training and skills to safely and quickly clear scenes to improve the safety of all road users, and whereas as of September 23rd, 2024, during this year, 28 first responders that were working on the roadway have been struck and killed, including 13 law enforcement officers, 3 fire EMS professionals, 7 tow operators, 1 road safety professional, and 4 Department of Transportation workers, 2 of which were Colorado DOT employees. And whereas 1 death is too many, and whereas drunk, drugged, drowsy, distracted, and dangerous drivers who are responders' safety, and whereas the state of Colorado asks all road users to do their part to keep everyone responding to traffic incidents on our highways safe, responding to traffic incidents on our highways safe by slowing down, moving over, and driving safe. And whereas the state of Colorado has a move over law requiring drivers to slow down and move over when approaching an emergency vehicle, a tow truck, or a highway maintenance vehicle when their emergency lights are activated. And whereas there is a need for Coloradans to be educated on the dangers of failing to abide by these laws. And whereas the week of November 18th to 22nd is recognized nationally as Crash Responder Safety Week. Now, therefore, the Monument Town Council hereby proclaims November 18th through November 22nd, 2024 as Colorado Crash Responder Safety Week, proclaimed this 18th day of November 2024.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Chief Regal, oath of office. That'll be forever his new name.
And can I say, Marco, I'm so glad I didn't read that.
That one of those was awkward. I was like, wait, what?
I know, right?
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is our 2 newest police officers, Tony Seeley and Josh Peoples. I'll quickly swear them in. We'll have them. I just pinned on and then we'll have. Right hand, repeat after me. I state your name. Solemnly swear that I will support and bear
Spent time all over the US, spent some time overseas, and I've been in Colorado since '06. Moved here to go to college and stuck around, met my wife, and spent some time a lot of time working in business. Spent some time up in the Denver area as a police officer. In the last 4 years, I've been working in real estate. So I'm excited to get back to being a police officer and serve the town of Monument.
Hello, my name is Anthony Seeley. I was born and raised in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. At 17, I moved to Texas, El Paso, Texas, and then I joined the military. I did 12 years active duty military, did multiple deployments. PCS here in 2019. Me and my wife, Alex, we decided to stay in Colorado, make Colorado our home. After the military, I went through the police academy in Colorado Springs Police Department, but this was the ultimate goal to get over here. So here I am. And just glad to be here and appreciate the opportunity from everybody. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. This is Chris Sullivan, who we're promoting as sergeant tonight. Please raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Christopher John Sullivan. Swear that I will support and bear
True faith and allegiance
true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution and laws
to the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the state of Colorado
and the state of Colorado
and to the ordinances of the town of Monument,
and the ordinance of the town of Monument.
and that I will defend and protect the lives,
And I will defend and protect the lives,
safety, and property
safety, and property
of the people of Monument,
of the people of Monument.
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
And I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the office of sergeant
the duties of the office of sergeant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Got your vest on?
No. Ow.
Thank you. I just wanted to add something real quick. On the heels of our proclamation, we do have an officer here from the Golden Police Department. I'm sure y'all are aware with what they just went through. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here. Very sorry for what you guys had to go through.
Thank you, Chief. All right, next up, we have a presentation from Ali, Shook for Fountain Creek Watershed District.
I guess no one's interested in the Fountain Creek Water
What?
District.
Come
Oh, Ali, I'm so sorry.
I won't take
Good. All right. Right.
See him remote.
Before she starts, I would like to just introduce her. Allie is a phenomenal executive director of the Fountain Creek Water Creek District, and you are doing a great job, and we appreciate everything you're doing. So thank you for being here.
Now it's green. Better? Can you hear me now? All right. We're the Fountain Creek Watershed District, and we manage our huge watershed that has a lot of risks and opportunities. So the Fountain Creek Watershed itself is 927 square miles. We are a special district, and so we represent all of the 9 governments within. So up here, it's Palmer Lake and Monument. Then to the west, Green Mountain Falls and Manitou Springs, Colorado Springs, Fountain, Pueblo, and then both El Paso and Pueblo counties. we're very unique and that we're the only entity truly working at the watershed scale. And we have representation from all of our 9-member governments on our board, as well as a Pueblo County landowner who can speak to a lot of the issues that are going on down there. So Mr. Romanello has served on our board for the past couple years now, and he represents actually 4 of the small municipalities. So we'll be working a little bit more collaboratively with our member governments, the small ones, more specifically, soon to come. I don't know where we're at in my slideshow, so I don't know how to move forward. Yeah. Oh, thank you. There we go. Okay. Slide 5. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so that was a snapshot. Thank you. We're just technologically challenged. So we are one of the most erratic watersheds in the country, in fact, by virtue of our natural setting. We have the top of Pikes Peak at over 14,000 feet. And by the time you travel 70 miles to the south in Pueblo, you've dropped over 10,000 feet in just 70 miles. And so we also have these really erosive soils, the Pikes Peak granite on the west side, the sandy soils on the east side. So this watershed is always on the move. And that's something that's no different than it was 100 years ago. This creek has always been extremely erratic, and we have a lot of water users, a lot of interest. We're the second most studied watershed in the whole country as well, because of all of this. So there's a slide here with just a picture of Cutler Hall down in Colorado College. Looks very different today because of our water system. Colorado Springs Utilities and others have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to provide water to our region as it's been growing. We've seen exponential growth recently, and that is set to continue. And so fortunately, our planners looked to the west and said, hey, to water in those mountains. And we have a very unique and complicated water delivery system that utilizes pipelines and reservoirs to bring that water to town. The latest pipeline is the Southern Delivery System, and that is another straw that goes into Pueblo Reservoir, and that's piped up here to Colorado Springs. The only way that project went through was Colorado Springs Utilities had to pay an entity $50 million to offset the impacts of that extra water. Because what we're doing is we're importing water to the watershed. So that water gets piped up from Pueblo, we use it in our homes, it gets treated at the wastewater treatment facilities, and then put back into Fountain Creek. When you add more water to a system, you've got higher velocity, you have more flows, you have more erosion and more sedimentation. So we were the ones that were gifted this $50 million to offset the extra water. We've been using that as efficiently and effectively as we possibly can, and I'll speak to some of those projects here in a little bit. But that has been our project money is from that, is part of a 1041 permit that Pueblo County put forth. So then I have this huge list of watershed risks, and I say it's not if, but when. If you were around during the Waldo Canyon and Black Forest fires, are the fires over in our region? No. They will continue. We'll continue to see droughts. We'll continue to see urban canopy loss as we continue to develop and grow. And so these are the things that keep me up at night. And you know, these are scary problems that we all need to work on together. They need to be at the forefront of how we're operating. This next slide here shows what I call the spaghetti images. This is how Fountain Creek has whipped across the land from year to year, depending on the storm, the water volumes. And you can see in a year or two difference, it's moved 100 feet one way or the other. And so this is very owners that have property on Fountain Creek. They're calling me all the time. Anytime it rains, hey, Allie, I lost 9 feet of my property this weekend during that summer storm. Can you give me a few $1 million to fix it? What do you think the answer is? Nope. Can't do that. We're working with landowners, however, to do a project where we'll help them install willow stakes on their eroding land as one solution, but that's not going to do it. We have identified $1 billion worth of project work today, and that's before these next floods and fires and droughts come. So we like to say that Fountain Creek is predictably unpredictable. We know that it's going to change. We just don't know when or how. So whose fault is it that we've got this erratic waterway? Whose responsibility is it? It's all of ours. right? We live here, we make a difference on our watershed every single day by the actions that we take. Those can be positive actions or those can be negative actions. So we believe that working at this watershed scale makes the most sense because again, these are shared issues and whatever happens upstream impacts downstream. And we can be out here and we can be proactive. Issues are coming, or we could wait like the city of Colorado Springs did, and they got sued by the EPA for not managing their water properly. Now they have a very robust stormwater management program. The only reason that happened is because they got sued. So I would love for us to work in a more proactive manner and not have to consider lawsuits as a way to get our work done. I've been telling a lot of stories lately about the flooding on the East Coast. These folks in the interior of the Carolinas never saw it coming. How could it ever happen to us? Well, that book that I just gave you, Mayor and Mr. Jim, has page 15 is the history of all the flooding that's happened on Fountain Creek, going back to the 1800s. Major catastrophic flooding. We know it's happening. We know it'll come again. So we're 15 this year. We were set up in 2009, and we have a few to-do things on our list. One is to mitigate flooding, erosion, and sedimentation, address water quality, improve drainage, protect open space, and develop recreational opportunities with no money to do it. We were stood up with some powers that we're not utilizing currently, and we're trying to figure out a way to make those happen. So to date, we have completed 25 plans. These are master plans that jurisdictions can pull off a shelf and utilize. This has been up in the Monument Creek watershed here, the city of Colorado Springs. USAFA has used a number of our plans that we put forth. Some other ones are for the Upper Cheyenne Creek and Upper Fountain Creek. We've done the $35 million in creek restoration, Springs utilities money. We've developed a lot of engaging outreach program that you are all familiar with. But again, we lack sustainable funding. So we are exploring some options for that because that 35 million, we're getting close to the end. Some of the work we do in the communities is around cleanups, of course. That's the best way to understand a watershed is to get out in it and see what's going on out there. So our cleanups take about an hour or two at a time. To date, we've removed almost 150,000 tons of litter by volunteer work alone. We also work with breweries because what's the number one ingredient in beer? It's water. So that's a way that I like to call it edutainment. We're casually educating you about water resources when you're enjoying a beer. You might find a coaster that we created that talks about watershed health and things that you can do as an individual. We also have a monthly liquid lecture where we visit different breweries, bring in a guest speaker to talk about watershed health, whether it's pollinators or water quality or projects that are going on in the watershed. We participate in water festivals across the communities. We work with educating around Scoop the Poop because there's a lot of E. coli in our waterways, and pet waste is one of those targeted ways we can remove E. coli from the waterways. We do fishing derbies, pollinating. We're going to do another rain barrel sale this coming spring. So if you don't have a rain barrel yet, hit up our website, get on our save the date list, and we'll let you know when that sale is going on. They're now legal to have, by the way. That was the headline in 2016 when rain barrels became legal. It said, "You won't believe what Colorado legalized now." And it was rain barrels. And that's because of our complicated water rights here. So every drop of water is owned by a water rights owner. And it took several years of studies, but in fact, if you capture your roof runoff and put it into the ground, you're actually not stealing water from your downstream neighbors. So that's how that became legal. So going back to the $50 million, we have a committee called the Monetary Mitigation Fund Advisory Committee. Sounds very government-y, and it is. But we've got some projects we're just kicking off right now. Eagle Ridge is a project in Pueblo County, and then Southmore Drive is our first project that we've done. It's in El Paso County, very, very visible. You look, if you're heading down toward Fountain, excuse me, Camper World is on the left there. If you look just beyond that, you'll see a huge cliff wall. Several people have already lost their fencing and they're about to lose their properties. So those two projects are going to stop the bleeding with the erosion, pull that creek away from the street that's been closed for 5 years now, and create a stronger, healthier riparian corridor. We also did receive, we're also doing a woody debris project in Pueblo County. All those spring storms last year, all those rains washed an insane amount of woody debris Creek that's just perfectly poised for a high water event to send them downstream, crashing into the infrastructure, ruining our projects. And so we're going to remove some of those next year. And then we also got a planning grant to do our next creek restoration project. So as much as we can, we want to collaborate, we want to partner, we want to find funding for all the jurisdictions. So again, back to the challenge, it's all about the money. So one new thing that we are investigating is an in lieu fee program. So whenever a development occurs and they disrupt wetlands, they need to either do on-site mitigation where you ruin an acre of wetlands, you have to put in 2 acres. A lot of times there's not that much room to put an extra acre or 2 of wetlands in. So a developer can purchase wetland credits from a mitigation bank. There currently is not one mitigation bank in our whole watershed. So the development that's happening right now, they're buying credits in Trinidad. We're losing all of these ecosystem benefits. It's exactly my my thought on that too is, why are we allowing this to happen? We're losing all the ecosystem benefits. So no one else is working on this. This is where the Watershed District is stepping in and saying we need to do development the right way that's sustainable for our communities. So it's watershed based. Again, there's no banks currently in the watershed, and it's going to protect our waterways, reduce flooding, and restore ecology to the degree of even protecting some of our endangered species. And this is just a really cost-effective manner. So the image on the screen shows potentially what the footprint might be of where we could install a bank or multiple banks. So it's beyond the watershed footprint, but because we wanted to include development that may happen along the Arkansas River. So CDOT projects we know are going to be coming along and others. So we're starting to dig into how we could actually make this a reality. So the developers are going to contribute a fee to us, say, we're going to let you handle the mitigation piece. We're not going to mess with that. So we get the money, we pool that money until we get enough to put in this mitigation bank. We currently have submitted our what's called a prospectus to the Army Corps of Engineers. They're the permitting agency that will help us with this. They're doing an internal review. 2025, we're going to kick off some public meetings and kind of get the word out about this opportunity. And we may be able to launch this in 2026. This could be a sustainable funding source for us as well. Without going to the taxpayer, without Ally writing 1 million grants, this could really help us out big time. So we're super excited about this effort. And then I wanted to talk about the Jackson Creek project. You all brought this to our attention and said, here's a big ugly project that's got a railroad, it's got USAFA, it's got El Paso County, it's got Tana Monument, there's Forest Lakes, all these stakeholders involved, and we need some help. So we dove in and we said, we're happy to help out. We did submit a $350,000 grant to Water Smart that was no match required, my favorite kind of grant. And this would establish a Monument Creek watershed group. We know that Jackson Creek isn't the only problem child y'all have up here. So we want to create a group of citizens, leaders who are interested in seeing this type of effort happen across the Monument Creek, the upper Monument Creek watershed here. So we'll establish this group and then get us to design. And we're currently doing a pre-scoping project right now. We've learned a lot of lessons as we've done projects that we really need to identify landowners, property boundaries, and anything like that before any design work happens. So we're doing that work right now with a company called IMEG. And this was part of our district tour that we held in October. So that pre-scoping should finish up at the end of the year. And then we'll hear back about that grant in, I think, March or so, and then be able to just keep that one moving forward. So super excited that we got, that you brought that to our attention. You know, this is part of our Upper Monument Creek master plan that we developed. There is critical habitat at risk. You know, Jackson Creek used to be one of our, what we called a reference reach, where this is the way a creek should look in our watershed. There's a little bit of a floodplain. There's a lot of vegetation. It's very healthy. Well, over 5 years' time, that sucker has eroded 13 feet deep now because of all the activities upstream. And so there's Preble's Meadow jumping mouse over there. So that's a big concern. And the Air Force is concerned about their mission critical work. And so we're stepping in to deal with, you know, the multiple stakeholders and to figure out what the fix might be. So these are kind of some of the graphics from the Air Force Academy. They're, you know, just seeing a lot of issues in many parts of the watershed up here. Here's this reference reach. You can see it's this beautiful pristine creek, and there here it's all been down cut. There's a down tree stuck in there. It's not pretty. So we've got a list of all the stakeholders, which is very thorough, and IMEG's actually going to go and start doing interviews with them to get a feel for what folks have seen out there, you know, what their interests are. Would you like to be part of this committee if we can get it started? And I think that's a great way to just really work with folks one-on-one, because it's something that we all share. And here's my kind of last slide. You know, water is a shared resource. We all have limited resources. We are on borrowed time when it comes to these risks that are super scary. And so we have to collaborate, and we are here to help, whatever that looks like for you all. So thanks so much for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. I'll open up the floor.
Thank you very much, Ally. Members of the council have questions for Ally?
I'd just like to make a comment because I went on the tour with Ally. We went all the way down to Fountain, where I saw structures sitting a foot away from the edge.
Like 60, 70
Frightening.
feet high.
Yeah,
On a sand hill. Yeah.
it's unbelievable that the damage that gets done downstream.
I wish you would add a picture of that.
Well, yeah, I think.
No,
I
I
put
wish
one
you
in
would add
there.
a picture of that one because
From
that
below.
it's a sand hill and
Yeah.
their backyard's ready to fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's parking lot hanging off the side of it, and a road that's closed there because of it all. And it does come from upstream for sure. You know, we would like to try to figure out how to do our part here because we've also been on the tour with USAPA and they have some damaged areas as well. And as you were talking about how complicated water rights are, we went to that one project where that lady had xeriscaped her yard and bored a hole through the curb to
The
catch
curb cut. Yep.
right to catch the storm water for her median in between the sidewalk and the street, and ended up getting sued over that.
Well, she didn't get sued, but she had to put the kibosh on it, and she may have to fill that back in with concrete. So that's an opportunity that's elsewhere. It's okay to do, put a curb cut so you can take in the street runoff, but it's not okay here.
So I do appreciate you showing us all that and sharing all this information. You know, you just don't really think about it that much until it's in front of you.
Exactly. I appreciate that. And that is true. You know, you don't think about a watershed until maybe you have water in your basement or your water utility says you can only water 3 days a week. You know, it doesn't really impact us because we turn on the faucet every day and it magically comes out. So yeah, thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
Yes. Again, thank you for what you do. I appreciate the relationship we have with you guys. And I know that when I connected you and our former town manager together to get that grant, it was a wonderful thing. I think, Madeline, you should pursue and continue a relationship on that level. You know, the in lieu fees are the same as what we do when we do a commercial development and we say build a park or give us money, right? And that's what they're trying to do. And I will give a little bit of history, and I'm not wanting to be negative. I'm just saying that when this thing was created by the state, it was a Pueblo, El Paso County shared project, but it was very Pueblo centric, if I can say that.
That's true.
And what they don't understand is that you can fix everything you want downstream, but unless you fix upstream, what you spend billions of dollars on is going to get destroyed. Okay. And they're really not understanding that. And she's trying to find ways to get money to do some northern projects that will help the entire system. And that's what I'm committed to in working with her and being on this committee. So that's all I want to.
True. We by virtue of this 1041 permit, we're fixing the watershed backwards.
Yep.
You know, we should
are.
really start at the top. So. There you have it.
I've got a question. How will the call go out for volunteers? Is this going to be a message that the watershed district itself, is it going to come from the town of Monument? Is it going to be combined effort?
I think we should do it together when it's time. You know, it might be not till springtime, but absolutely. I think it'd be a great shared message.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry.
I had a quick question about the IMEG. I looked them up. Did you guys vet different companies or is that just a local company? How did you pick them?
We did it. We did a request for proposals and they scored well. Yeah.
I just want to make one more comment on finances because what I want everyone to understand is the way the state wrote this district is the only way that they can raise money other than grants or begging is, listen, I am the anti-tax king, right? So I want to preface it with that. But the only way that they can raise money through a tax is by getting El Paso and Pueblo County by a popular vote to do a property tax. Not likely, right? So we got to be very creative here to take care of this water, and I'm being very honest. Okay.
Right. And if you look at our neighbors to the north along the Front Range, it took a major catastrophic flood in 1965 to set up the Mount High Flood District. It took the Big Thompson flood to get Boulder to have one. The 80s, they had a huge one in Fort Collins. So I've done a bunch of presentations. I'll talk to anyone who will listen about this stuff. And one of the directors of the Colorado Water Conservancy Board came up to me afterwards and said, well, you guys just need a catastrophic flood. That's how you'll get funded. And I'd prefer to go the proactive route. So that's why we're seeking some other opportunities. Exactly.
I'm sorry, I have one more comment one more comment for transparency. I want our citizens to know that the ask that you give us for money, which I think was $12,000 for this year, that I just want everyone to know that is totally voluntary. If 100 citizens wanted to come in here and say, we don't want to pay that, we won't do it. But we are voluntarily, and every municipality is a volunteer basis to give their dues every year. So I just want to make it clear that it's a voluntary thing and we've been doing it.
Greatly appreciated. And that's where we want to hear from you. We need to, hear what's going on and figure out how we can best support you all as one of our member governments. So don't be afraid to look me up and give me a call. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have the Heart of Monument Park Design, Cassie Ulgren. Welcome, Cassie. It's been a minute since you've presented. Is that going to be a regular thing?
No, I tested it earlier today and we're
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council. Nice to see you. Hi. Thanks for having me and giving me a chance just to give you a quick update. I just wanted to actually add on to Allie's presentation. I'm on the El Paso County Conservation District Board, and we nominated Creek Week as a educational program to the state level, and they awarded them Educational Program of the Year. So good job on that.
Very good.
Excellent. Oops. I need to go back to the beginning. All righty. So this is going to be a pretty quick presentation, but I wanted to make sure that we gave you a chance to ask any questions that you have about this project. We've been talking about it for a couple of years now. The pandemic sort of put a delay in the Kiwanis Club's dreams, but they are committed, and so are we, to this program. And so I wanted to give you a quick update on our design that we have now. Just for those in the public who are not familiar with this project, our Parks Department is in the final design stage of a new park space right here in the heart of Monument. The Monument Hill Kiwanis Club are the champions of this effort to build a universally accessible playground that can welcome visitors of all ages and abilities. That's really at the heart of this effort. NES is the design firm, and they have developed a design which incorporates a substantial amount of community and stakeholder input. They've been combining. I remember there was actually a couple of council members there. I believe the mayor was there. That was just one event of many that we have had in our community. And so we feel really strongly that the design that we've come up with is built from community input over the last 2 years. This unique park space will provide expanded recreational opportunities to those with cognitive mobility challenges and it will provide some additional ADA parking in the heart of historic downtown Monument. This space is right across from where we have our seasonal farmers market. And you know, as everybody's probably familiar with, there's mostly just on-street parking. There's not really any ADA parking. So this parking lot will also be a welcome addition to our downtown. So just in case you are not aware of the location, it is just to the south of our Waterwise demonstration garden and the Monument Community Presbyterian Church. The church is who donated this land. It was set aside for stormwater detention area, but we're able to use about half of that space for the playground. And then the end of Adams Street, where it dead ends, we're vacating that right of way, and that's where that small parking area will go. That will be 100% ADA spaces. The church was nice enough to allow us the row of parking spaces along the south of their parking lot for this playground. And so that is where the regular parking will be, just as you see it now. So of course we have the Monument Kiwanis Club that is some of our partners. Also the Monument Community Presbyterian Church. We couldn't have done it without them. Also a new partner is Colorado Springs Health Foundation. They have given us a generous grant that will take us a little further down the road to funding this project. And we're engaging with a lot of community donors, individual and commercial donors. And we actually just got another grant, which we are waiting to announce until the new year. That was at their request. That's just sort of per their policy. So our updated project timeline, this is something that I think I presented last year. Now this is kind of where we stand here. In 2024, we're finalizing the site design and getting a better estimation of the costs. Each year, that's sort of a moving target. And so it's good to have a final design because you can really zero in on those costs. And we're very close to putting out an RFP for vendors. Now that we are at that final design stage, we can really start engaging with the donors and the sponsors because we have a better idea of what that cost will be and applying for grants. Early on, you know, organizations that are offering grants, they get a little bit shy about getting to something that is early on in the design process. So it's exciting where we're at right now. In 2025, we'll be applying for more funding. CDBG funding is one of those, and that is that relates to the funding that we've asked in our town budget because that is a reimbursement style grant. And so we would need the money up front if we were to get that CDBG funding. We would need to have it to spend in the first place, and then we would be reimbursed for it. Also in 2025, we would likely be embarking on that RFP process, finding a contractor, hopefully a contractor that could offer us better pricing than what we have estimated, because you always do kind of estimate high. And groundbreaking, that's what we're really looking forward to. And we're hoping that that is in 2025 on phase 1 of the project. We have broken this project out into phases. It makes it a lot easier to achieve the funding targets and goals for actual construction. Also in phase 1 is site preparation, parking lot, and the sidewalks that will connect to our 2nd Street sidewalks and the trail that eventually winds through the Waterwise demonstration garden and connects to the Santa Fe Trail. Then in 2026, continued fundraising for phases 2 and 3. That's sort of optional, and it's in 2026 because you all know how projects can kind of change and evolve over time. Even what the public is asking for can change and evolve over time. And so that is, you know, that has a lot of flexibility built into those 2 phases. They're also smaller phases, easier to fundraise for, also easier to change and adapt to whatever comes our way. 2026, if in 2025 we have the funding and we're doing the RFP process, then in 2026 is probably when we will be breaking ground or installing the equipment. So the ribbon cutting, which is the fun part, would likely be in early 2026. And then the land, which of course is my favorite part, would also be in 2026. And it would be an extension of the Waterwise demonstration garden with low water use. So this is, I wish I had a better image, you know, that you could see a little bit bigger on your screens, but this is the overall design. This is what we are getting our estimates based on. You can see how it stretches a little bit north into the Waterwise demonstration garden. I had left that corner of the garden undeveloped and uninstalled because we knew that this project was coming in and we'd want to kind of fit it together. And I will kind of toggle back and forth between these two slides because the second one shows. So when it comes to poured in place surfacing, the unitary surfacing, which is universally accessible, you kind of have to do it all at once. And you want to do it at the same time that you're installing the equipment. So that is why the bulk of this project is in phase one, because it all has to be done at the same time. So you'll have the sidewalks, the surfacing, and the play equipment. But to the north, the darker green that you see, that is the exercise equipment that we want to put in. And that might stretch even farther north into the Waterwise demonstration garden. That won't need the surfacing, so that can be put in at any time afterwards. This also relates to different grants that are focused in different areas that will be going for, you know, on a different timeline. On the left of that graphic is a shade structure. Also could be put in at any time, but it was suggested that it's a part of phase two because it doesn't have to be put in with the surfacing. And the landscaping is also sort of an optional phase one or phase two. The just to clarify, to the right where you see the parking, that will be a part of phase one, but it's left out of this because it's a town effort as opposed to the Kiwanis fundraising. So it will be happening simultaneously with phase one. And then this last slide, this is not exactly the rendering for the main play structure, but this is a good example of it. And the reason we don't have an exact rendering is because we don't know what vendor we'll choose, but it will be something where the ramps will reach every single point on that play structure. This one shows a tower that has some stairs. We actually eliminated that from the design. So the final design will have ramps that go to every single place where you can use the slides and everything else that it has to offer. I think that.
No roller coaster.
No roller coasters. They're just too expensive.
You know,
Ask Sursa why we can't have roller coasters.
no, I'm not.
At this point, you can ask any questions that you might have.
Any questions from the council?
Thank you. This is great.
Question.
This is awesome.
That looks amazing. Is it going to be the surface area similar to Limbach?
Yes. Yeah, exactly like that.
Okay, so kind of spongy and kind of bouncy. And,
Yes.
Okay, thank.
Yeah, and the amount of sponginess that you find is based on the fall height. And so this entire surface would need the maximum fall height because it is sort of a tower, you know, raised surface.
Right.
So it'll be extra spongy.
It's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, next up, we have a resolution. Resolution 54, 2024, resolution adopting a Town of Monument Employee Handbook. Emily Trujillo.
New technology. We're all learning tonight. Mayor, council members, nice to see you again. So I am here to present the option for the resolution to accept the employee handbook. It has been a long road. If I do have my information correct, the last time it was brought before you guys was in 2017, roughly, around in that time frame.
We were all here.
Very nice. I did include a memorandum for you folks to review. There were quite a few updates, bringing along, making sure our federal, state, and local laws were being followed. We did partner with legal on a good chunk of the handbook. They reviewed it numerous times for us. We also had a committee, internal committee that did review the handbook as well. Plenty of updates. I know there are a few grammatical and some errors along those lines that we will be able to address. No worries about that. And we're just excited to get this in front of our employees for them to see some of the changes that they requested in the survey into this handbook to aid in clarification.
Did everybody get a chance to read the handbook? Any
Yes, I did. And I just sent, and my gross apologies. I just didn't have a chance to get to it earlier, but yeah, there's some grammaticals, there's some other continuity type things, but there's other things that I really am more concerned about. For example, and there's no reason to go through all of this, but I don't know that accepting this tonight would be a good idea.
Okay.
There's a reference to Appendix X.
Yes, I did see that. And and it's refreshing to have another set of eyes, all of your guys' eyes on it as well. Because myself, as well as all the members that have reviewed it, have gone over it numerous times.
It's a forced entry thing, and it happens when you have a document. I'm not trying to poke holes at you or demean in any way. It's just, I see things. We have two gentlemen in the audience who absolutely have the same feelings about all of this that you do and that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, another set of eyes. And I thought that was a placeholder, actually.
Yep. And so that's another thing that I kind of wanted to bring to attention as well, is brought the summary of updates, wanted to get the thoughts and collectives, hear any recommendations that the council has, take them, put them in action, get it corrected, and bring this back. And then we'll see if we can finalize and get this taken care of.
So when this first came up, I believe I brought it up some months ago, maybe 9 months ago, because as a member of PPACG, there's actually members of the board that participate in the development of the handbook.
Okay.
I would like to see at least one member of the council participate in future revisions.
Absolutely.
And that we see it multiple times before it comes to a vote. That way there is some back and forth with the council and the person representing the council and the members of your internal team.
More like a budget process.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we had 3 meetings at PPACG where we had 3 meetings of those that represented the overall board along with the staff of PPACG, and it flowed very, very well. They were all workshops. And
I was just going to ask what context and
yeah, there was no voting. So
Yeah.
it was like looking at the verbiage of some of the sections that may have been concerning to somebody, and they said, oh, I don't like that section. And then someone from PPACG staff would say, but our attorney said, you need to have this in there. And so it was an education process also.
100%. I would be more than happy to have that happen. I think that would be a great collaboration to plan for from here on out to keep this handbook up to date and everybody on the same page with the expectations of the town.
Cool. So we could continue this.
Yep.
And we would need to put a date. I would like to get this done before the end of the year if we have the room.
If we have room.
Well, I know that is it the next agenda that's packed full of good stuff?
Another hour after.
The next agenda is largely related to our budget.
Right.
So that's a pretty large one.
So do we have time in the mid-December?
We'll take a look at that. But for clarification, are you asking for a workshop around this first or?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think let's just go
More
through
for
it.
dialogue.
Laura,
Feedback.
you want to represent?
Sure.
So,
I'll be
Council-
nice.
I trust that you always will.
and then you let us know what date works best based on how much can be accomplished. I didn't see,
But it was very comprehensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I applaud the work.
oh, it was great.
100%.
Yeah, I was just say, if we looked at the previous handbook, we have come a long way, and that's our goal, is to keep this updated, expanding, clarifying, just less is more sometimes. So that's kind of our goal, is to make sure if we can streamline some of these processes. So I'm excited to get this going.
Well, I think we all recognize that.
Yeah, no, the content is good.
Punch it. It's brand new. Break it. Okay, so look for a motion to continue.
Well, do you guys have any? Is there-
Oh, sorry.
You guys want anything?
Well, I thought I heard that they didn't, but
Oh, maybe not.
I thought it was a pretty comprehensive and pretty good start. I guess I'm okay with continuing, but I'm also okay with pressing for approving it. And I mean, we're not, I didn't see anything that jumped out at me that said, you know, oh my God. But maybe I didn't read it.
We could modify? Is that what you're
didn't read
thinking?
Yeah, I mean,
X. You didn't read the X.
yeah, but
And so-
I saw it as a
you're
placeholder.
good.
So I didn't, I just don't see, to me, I don't see a reason to continue.
It's not a bad document. That's what you're saying.
I think we got the 80% solution. I say we press, and it doesn't mean that we can't change it. Once we adopt it. Yeah.
And I was going to make a suggestion to adopt, and we can make adjustments and we can reconvene with those updates for the visual. Because then, since this is a living document, like we're speaking about, we have a base. We see the items that need to be addressed and corrected. We can do that. We can come back and say, these are the items that we corrected. Here is that corrected version. Have the council accept that, and then we can present that to the employees as well.
And in that
if
way,
that's
we
a
can
choice.
just press it to January, to where we're not rushed.
There really isn't necessarily a lot to do, but there are places that need to be clarified. There needs to have, there are sentences that are incomplete. There are things that are said and you go, what do you mean? You don't want to put out a shoddy product is where I come from. And I'm not thinking that it's going to require a whole bunch of time.
I do agree. It should be I did get a view of some of the suggested edits. That should not take very long.
No, and this can be done by well before the end of the year. So I'm not, yeah.
I support you on that.
So the attorneys did look at it.
Yes.
And is there anything is there any type of legal things we need to be concerned about if?
No, to my understanding of what they presented to us was saying that you are good where your handbook is. We've made some adjustments. They've added some procedures and policies that they communicated with the council, like the grievance procedure, things along those lines that are in this handbook. They've reviewed it numerous times, and that's all they came back with is the updates along those lines.
Okay, so
And all laid out here, so we know this is legal, this is statutory, this is what you have to do. Don't even touch this kind of thing, right?
Do we need to make a motion to postpone this to another date? Or what are we doing?
we don't have time for the first meeting in December. But we need a date to put on a continuation.
The 16th then?
Because we wouldn't get this done next
I was gonna say, Laura, we can
It's not gonna be a long.
meet and have it done prior, and if it was okay and if it is appropriate, the revised could be released in plenty of time prior to that meeting, for plenty of time to review, for the council to view, so that it can be a quick decision.
We good on the 16th, Madeline?
16th is also very full right now, but if you guys want to add it to the 16th.
Do you guys, do you, okay, do you fellow council people think this? See, just shut up. Do you guys think it'll take 5 or 7 minutes? I mean.
Minutes on December 16th, but I'm not comfortable approving it tonight myself. And again.
Well, I make a motion to continue this till December 16th.
Understand?
Okay, so the motion's been made, looking for a
Second.
second. We've got a second.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you for being flexible.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for understanding and
No,
It's really good. Good job.
Thank you
It's-
very
Yeah,
much.
very comprehensive. Thank you.
Ms. Erickson, will you take roll on that?
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem King,
yes.
Councilmember Kimple,
Yes.
Mayor LaKind,
Yes?
Councilmember Fiorito,
Aye.
Councilmember Abbott,
Yes.
Councilmember Romanella,
Yes.
Councilmember Chronic.
Nitpicker, yes.
All right, don't go anywhere. Emily?
Oh, there's more.
We have a discussion, brief discussion item
Oh.
on town manager goals, objectives, and review.
yes. So at a previous meeting, we discussed the desire to have a 360 review for the town manager. I presented two options. One was with the Employers Council. The other one was with a Graves Consulting LLC. I wanted to come back and see where the council stood with making a decision, or if there were any questions that I would be able to answer to aid in a decision. I can go over each briefly if desired.
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, especially since at PPACG, we just went through and did our review of our director, Andy Gunning, and it was awesome as far as the process goes to get all the board members' questions to rate the director, which is what we would be, town manager, rating the town manager. I hope we are going to do something similar. If not, please reach out and find out how they did it. And it makes it so much easier. And then what we did is we went into an executive session to discuss the results. And then we called the director in to let him know what a crappy job. No, he did a great job. What a great job that he did. And then everything went into public to vote on performance payment and things like that.
Yep.
So I like the system with
That's the first one.
Employers Council.
Correct. That is the first one. And to kind of feed off of what you said, they choose and they have a database of 250 questions that the folks on that panel that are going to be reviewing, so that would be the council members, you meet with the representative from the Employers Council to decide on those questions. Then they take those, they put them in a survey. They ask a minimum of 5 individuals that have direct interactions with that position that you're evaluating. They meet, they go over it. It's a full inclusive process. Just in this first page alone, you can see that they go over scoring, the gaps, the low scores, they break down the questions. They even help with the development planning process, and everything will have the council members included in that process.
What's your,
I choose the Employers Council.
So since this was a discussion item and we're not voting, we can just give direction to staff to proceed with, this is within your spending authority. So I would proceed with what it seems to be there's a consensus on.
Yes, definitely. Employers Council.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay, and thank you very much for all the, boy, this took a while to get this point. So thank you again
Thank you,
for
Emily.
persevering through this and the investigations. And thank you to Council Member Chronic for the ridiculous amount of time she spent in trying to capture the requisite number of companies that were out there. I think we just couldn't get to a third or a fourth because they don't exist to do what we need them to do.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Laura.
And thank you, council, for being patient with the process as well. It's been a long time coming and looking forward to making things happen quicker in the future.
And note to self, Because I know that we, at one time, were using Employers Council and then we stopped. Let's not do that again.
Without council approval.
No, no, it's under,
I'm sorry, I was just.
okay, public comments for items not on the
Well,
agenda.
I've got another follow-up item on the town manager, if that's okay? Can I, on the town manager goals?
Okay,
Oh, we can go to public, I can wait
oh,
and do a board comment.
okay.
Okay.
Individuals attending in person may raise their hand to indicate their desire to comment. Individuals attending via Teams may raise their hand digitally to comment via connected devices. Please lower your hand when finished with your comments. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Is there any? Whoa, I didn't even get to finish the sentence. Is there anybody here in town hall that would like to make a public comment? Come on down.
Other than Mr. Howe.
No comments? No one has comments? Really? No one?
Okay, public comment is ended. Anybody on
That was quick.
Nobody
You're
online?
gonna want to hear this. You're gonna want to hear this.
This is like a vaudeville show.
It is.
You're gonna do soft shoe?
Tony, I'm the dog.
Especially
So,
like the
good to see
Hawaiian
you all
shirt.
again. It was August 7th of last year that we presented our report, a 73-page report on the history of Monument Cemetery. It was a very report. And at the time, Councilwoman Chronic said, hey, you should write a book. So we did. 15 short months later, we now have a book that is twice as long as the report. It's 140 pages.
No, not
Show
yet.
the- show
Not
the-
yet.
Oh, I see your suspense. It's 140 pages. It now has a
This
lot
is
of
the size.
stories about the people who are buried in the cemetery.
Pictures.
There's over 100 photos, both historical
took.
photos and photos that I've taken. And the book is now called Shootings, Killings, and War Heroes, The Hidden History in Monument Cemetery.
How much are they? I'll take five.
Yeah, that's
No longer
Love
a
that.
loose history of Monument Cemetery. It's very, very tight now. You're going to be amazed at what it is now compared to what it was before. We found some really interesting stories on the people who are buried in the cemetery. A lot of fun facts are in there. The book is going to be released on November 30th. On November 30th, John and I are going to be signing copies of the book at Covered Treasures. We expect you all to be there with money in hand.
With every book, you get a cookie. I'm bringing cookies, homemade cookies, and
You want
he's
to do a
bringing.
property tax?
We're going to also have a cake
Book
with
is
a picture
citizen.
of the book on
Yeah.
it as well. So maybe you can get your favorite word in the title when you cut the cake. The book is also going to be available in the Chamber of Commerce. It'll be available in the Vail Museum in Palmer Lake and also on Amazon as well.
Nice.
This was a volunteer effort. Volunteer equals no pay. And we really want to thank the town for picking up the cost of publishing. So it is a very interesting book. We found some very cool stories. So we recommend it to everybody.
Well,
Is there any question? Are there?
Thank you. Seriously.
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Yes, 1 to 3 at Covered Treasures. Thank you for asking that question.
John,
Wasn't,
hold that up and flip through the pages again.
Vanna White.
wasn't the original copy?
I see dead people.
Ah, there you go.
You
I
saw the
promise I
picture
will
of
buy
us?
a copy on November 30th.
By the way, this is a galley copy. It's a matte copy on the cover. It's going to be a glossy book.
It's at the
So-
printers now, and we're hoping that it is delivered on the 23rd of this month, so we have it for the 30th to sign.
Yeah.
How
If
many,
not, we
how
can
many
sign
advanced copies
this
did we
27th.
pay for?
Excuse me?
How many advanced copies did we pay for in the publishing? Like how many?
Oh,
10,000?
200.
200 even.
200?
200.
200.
What's your speculation of value on a signed copy?
It depends on if I write to Jim, it does not.
Right.
Well, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just, ever since the story broke, I just think this is one of the coolest things for the town to have its own historical story behind the cemetery, which of course we know has no more spots in it. I think you've got one, right, John?
I live next.
I know you live next door. I'm just gonna roll you over.
Throw me over the fence when the day comes. Yes.
And
He's got his bench ready.
John has been working on this since 2010. I joined him in 2018. So it's been a long project.
Very nicely.
We
done.
appreciate it, Joe.
Yeah.
But
Thank you very much.
it's been a lot of fun.
It has been very, very interesting and fun being here. There's still some touch-ups to be done in the files, and then he will have, Michael's taken many pictures of the headstones to attach to the files. Anytime that there's a new headstone, Miss Tina contacts him and he goes over and takes a picture of the headstone, and then we attach it to the file. We've updated the files as best we could.
We'll have
And
to add
it's-
you to the Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Yes.
For town notables.
Yep,
And
for sure.
some reason, the publisher decided to, when they give the photo credits, all the photos that I took, she says, are from the Michael Weinfeld collection. So I had no idea I had a collection, but.
You do now.
Cool. Yeah, I do now.
And it has been proofread at least 27 times, including by
Councilwoman Chronic
Councilwoman
helped us proofread it. We proofread
Then it's a
it.
trusted
Well,
verified document.
so besides figuring out how we're gonna recognize you for the effort you've already done, now we've got to double it up because you had to put up with Councilmember Chronic proofreading.
It was good to do. No, not at all.
I think I'll go out on a limb and say that we all appreciate what you've done.
Yeah,
Thank
very-
you.
very
Thank
much
you.
so.
I can speak for everybody on that, yeah.
Yes,
We'll
thank
see-
you very
we'll see
much.
We'll see on the 30th if you're there.
We'll be there.
Rain or snow.
I'll buy one.
I think it's already on my calendar, to be honest.
Bring your gold card.
Okay.
Yep, I've got it on my calendar. I
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
That's all.
think we went over 3 minutes.
It's all.
It was two of them.
I know. Oh, so 6 minutes. All right. Is there anybody in town hall that would like to make a comment? Anybody online will?
No hands raised, Mayor.
Okay. Any future agenda items? I'm afraid to ask.
I do not.
Woo, all right, because
Wow, it was like
I've already,
19 last
that's because
time.
I saw the agenda that's coming up and it's big. Okay, council comments.
I do, and I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit here. I guess we'll call it the 80132 passed, right? So Madeline can officially apply for a permanent position here if she so desires. So I just want to say that I am corporate or the working world. If I was in a position, I would want to know, am I wanted, am I not? I think it would be shameful and embarrassing to have an interview process that would involve her. I'm just going to put out there, either you want her to be town manager or you don't. And I think we should work on the next meeting, having a negotiation process to bring her on board if we so desire to. Okay, well, I was uninformed.
Because I have to, Bob was out, so I don't have any information to share.
Okay.
But to that point, we do have some abilities as a council as it pertains to the town manager position. I wanted to also but congratulate all of the people who won in the monument elections.
We're still here.
It was a tough race, but thank you.
But what I'm really happy about is that we are, for the next 2 years all together. And we have been functioning, I think, very highly together, and we treat each other the way one should treat each other up here, you know, right?
Dignity and respect.
Yeah, dignity and respect.
And Marco got an aye vote.
Marco got an eye.
Aye.
that's all I really have. But yeah, congratulations. And when is swearing in? Is it the first meeting in January?
January 6th, yes.
All right, so you get to swear in, all of you get to swear in again. Those of you who are winners, winner, chicken dinner, right?
Or something.
Something like that.
Arby's.
Arby's. Any other council member comments?
Several comments to make. Number one, just a huge thank you for the Public Works team during all the snow removal process, along with the police out there, directing and redirecting traffic, trying to do the best they can for all the residents to get around during some pretty harsh conditions. It's always great to see the team out there trying to get after it. That's much appreciated. I know those are long hours and very valued to make happen. That being said, I do have a concern about Baptist Road over by the pilot station because once again, during that storm, I think we need to be the squeaky wheel with El Paso County to clean that area up as best as possible. Multiple trucks were stuck. The police resource that they had to go out there and redirect and help out, that's taken away a valuable resource that may be needed elsewhere. So I have concerns, and a lot of residents spoke up and, voiced their concern about being able to get out and a viable option in case there's an emergency. That's just a terrible situation. I was in it for 40 minutes waiting, just to get onto I-25, to go to work while they were trying to remove or move trucks that had been stuck up that small incline or the turnoff. So hopefully we continue to do something about that to be that squeaky wheel with El Paso County. And lastly, just, every election, I really do appreciate taking part in it. It's something that I valued serving in the military for, to making sure that everyone can vote, and those that took part in it, I appreciate that and thank you. Message received for those that voted for us to remain on council, and I acknowledge everyone didn't vote, and that's their right, and message received on that for us to do better and to communicate to the community of our goals of what we're trying to do up here for all the residents and all the local communities surrounding Monument as well. So thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, I have two things. First of all, I'd like to thank our new finance director for spending time talking about the budget with me. Appreciate it very much, and for clarifying everything. Wonderful. Second thing, Jonathan Bradley several of us were there this weekend, did the fire mitigation education. All I can say is, oh my God, I wish everybody could go through this. It was absolutely eye-opening, educational, impressive, well done. Thank you very much. He's not here, but I thank him.
Anybody else? Okay. Then we will be going into executive session. Like someone to read the motion to go into executive session.
I move that we go into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-64024B for a conference with the assistant attorney, town attorney, and the town's water attorney to receive legal advice on specific legal questions regarding water supply, and pursuant to CRS 24-64024E to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators regarding proposed and the Northern Delivery System.
Second. I second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Erickson?
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Councilmember Kimple,
Yes.
Councilmember Chronic,
Yes.
Mayor LaKind,
Yes.
Councilmember Fiorito,
Aye.
Councilmember Abbott,
Yes.
Councilmember Romanello.
Yes.
The motion passes 7-0. We will be coming out of executive session back into public when we are done. In the meantime, those of you who are just guests, we would ask you kindly to vacate the room. Thank you very much for your attendance too.
Thank you.
Hold on, man.
Okay, we have just come out of executive session. We have no direction to provide. The next thing up was number 13, the discussion on water, which we are not going to have. And so number 14 is adjourning the meeting. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Third.
favor. We're adjourned.